Hey everybody, thanks for joining me today. This is Cheap Comic Collector. My name's Rob, and thanks to all the new subscribers, we're finally on a roll to hit some new subscriber milestones again. We went over 350 finally. Just seemed like it took a few months to get from 300 to 350 after the quick growth we had in the first several months, but we're going up there again. So thank you very much. If you're a new subscriber, go ahead and email me your address. You'll get a free comic book in the mail. It's a mystery draw, so don't know what you'll get. They're in blind bags, so I don't know what I'm sending to who. But a free comic's a free comic. So and plus, then you'd be registered with your address if you want to join in on the claim sales later. And if we do giveaways, which we will get around to doing some giveaways eventually again, then we will. Yeah, well, you'd be in those too because I'd have your name and address. So anyway, let's see. This box right here will be opening tomorrow. I purposely haven't opened it. I don't know what's in it. It's a mystery box that I ordered off eBay. It's my first mystery box that I've ever ordered. And it was really cheap. It was only $18 for 50 comics. And I don't know what's in there. I don't know what kind of condition they're going to be in. The person selling them had really good ratings. First time I ever bought from them. But we'll be opening that in tomorrow's show. So you want to tune in for that. So today, let me switch over to the other camera. Today we're doing a What Am I Reading episode. And basically I just review some of the comics I've read recently, and they're usually older ones. They're not new. If I read newer comics at all, it's usually on the internet. I don't usually spend money on newer stuff, although have been exceptions to that. But so let's go ahead and get started. I'm not going to turn the light on because they're just going to take the comics out of the bags anyway, so that should eliminate the glare, and I think the picture is a little bit better without that. Let me get rid of that like and subscribe banner. And first off, today we have Uncle Scrooge. This is number 114 from 1974, and it reprints a story from Uncle Scrooge number 60. So this is a Carl Barks classic, but it's from Uncle Scrooge 60. Now, back when Uncle Scrooge was first being printed by Dell Comics and so forth, it wasn't a monthly comic book. It was published every 2 months, every 3 months, something like that. And so the stories were much more spread out, than they are now with a monthly thing. So Carl Barks was still doing new stories in Uncle Scrooge 60, and it would have been several years into his duck career. So this, this is a Carl Barks classic, no question about it. It's the Phantom of Notre Duck, and it's played a little bit more for laughs than it was for an straight out and out adventure story, although it is an adventure story. And I don't know. I don't care for it as much as I do a lot of his other ones. But that's not to say it's not a great comic. It is. It's a really good comic. So let me actually move this camera up a little bit there so we can see things better. But for some reason, I'm not zoomed in as much as I normally am. Let me fix that a little. I think I might have zoomed out a little bit for the last claim sale because of the just the way that's still pretty short. Just the way the claim sale goes, I felt like I needed to zoom out a little bit so you could see things better because yeah, I'm not constantly looking at the camera, and I'll put the comics in a slightly different place. And if I'll flip through them, I'll find myself going like this instead of being on the camera. Um, so anyway, so we got Uncle Scrooge, and Uncle Scrooge has this new flute safe system where he plays a tune on his flute in order to open and close his vault door. And for some reason, they go to visit the Notre Duck historical site that's in Duckburg, and he's oh, that's right. He's gonna dip his flute in the fountain's waters because it's some kind of good luck charm where it's supposed to keep it safe from harm. Anything dunked in the waters is supposed to be kept safe from harm. And when he pulls it back up on the string, he's got a fish instead of his flute. And somebody's stolen his flute. So he climbs down in the well and finds a secret door and a secret panel. There's no coins down there, so somebody's been stealing all the coins out of the wishing well. And so they hear somebody playing the flute all over the cathedral. And so they have various mishaps trying to find the guy and catch him. And Uncle Scrooge discovers this model of Notre Duck created out of the coins from the wishing well in the basement. And they finally catch up with the shadowy thief. This is him here down in this panel. Let me show you these panels a little bit. There's the model. There's the shadowy thief. And so he outwits them at pretty much every turn. He captures Uncle Scrooge. He captures Donald. He captures Huey and Louie, who have brought their official bloodhound, Junior Woodchuck's bloodhound, to help in the hunt. And they all basically get captured, but the hound manages to let them loose. And then they trap the shadowy thief, who's he stole the flute so that he could get more coins to finish his model, which Uncle Scrooge is fascinated by and wants to help finish it. So, and then the end gag is that when they unmask the Phantom, he looks exactly like Uncle Scrooge, pretty much. So it's a fun story. It's just not, like I said, it's played a little bit more for laughs than the adventurous aspects of it, which is fine. And then the last one panel gag here is the one page gag. Uncle Scrooge is learning how to skydive out of an airplane, and the instructor tells him he should be able to land on a dime. So as he's falling, he completely misses the target because he saw a dime that he wanted to land on. So that was it. Good issue. Even when Carl Barks wasn't at his greatest, it's still a lot better than most other creators, quite honestly. Now we have something I've never read before, Dilton's Strange Science. This is number 6 from Archie Comics. And 1990, this is from. So, this is obviously Dilton on the cover. Kind of a busy cover, but I really like the turtle doing the double take in the aquarium there. And apparently this is Dilton's girlfriend, Danny, but it doesn't really spell that out. So, and then inside the front cover, we have a Archie advertisement for Capri Sun drinks, and it says to be continued. So this is kind of like the Hostess ads from back in the day, except it's for Capri Sun. So kind of cool. And then, the story starts. It is by Mike Pilowski. Penciling is by Bill Goler, and inking is by John D'Agostino. D'Agostino. And so yeah, Dilton and his friend are out studying the stars, and a meteor lands, and he takes it home to study it, and it turns into, as apparently it's a shapeshifter because it can turn into all these different things. It scares away a mouse, but when they come back the next day, the mouse is inside the dome, and the mouse is actually the alien meteor, whatever. And you can tell because it's got this orange patch on the back that the the meteor was orange. It had an orange patch on it. And that's what they wanted to study. And then it turns into a double when they find it, and it eats energy. That's why it's doing this down here in the corner with the big battery. And apparently, this is Dilton's lab also, which is I don't know anything about this. He's got I mean, it's just like Bruce Wayne type lab, man. It's in a cave. It's got skeletons, an aquarium, all kinds of stuff in it. So apparently, Dilton is monstrously rich or something that I was not aware of. I don't know. But anyway, the alien turns into a copy of Dilton, and they can tell the difference because of the orange patch on the back. And it gets away, and you have the 90s equivalent of the Archie's Club News. And in the second chapter, it's eating, as Dilton, it's eating the car battery. Then it becomes a car, then it drives away. And so they're chasing it. And then it becomes a giant spider because it sees the billboard for the giant spider movie. And they manage to shrink it down and capture it and get it back in its container. And then they're just going to store it on the shelf for future reference. But still no word on why Hilton has this humongous lab that's apparently underground, hidden by a little log cabin. So not sure what all that's about. I guess I would need to read this series from the start maybe to find that out. And then the next story is called Anti-Gravity Granny. This is by Bill Balliner and John D'Agostino. And this has Dilton's grandma. She actually has eyesight problems, so she accidentally takes his experimental jetpack jacket. And so she thinks she's waiting for a bus, but she's actually up in the air on the clouds, and the airplane sees her, and so on and so forth. You know, she scares birds, and she gets tangled up with a kite and things like that. And then they go in. Dilton's has some kind of sky cycle thing that they go pick her up at, and she never knows that she was up there. She was, still in the. But she wants to buy the second pair of the shoes she's got on because they make her feel like she's walking on the air. So this was just a silly story that several years ago would have no meaning to me whatsoever. But now that I'm taking care of my mom, and she gets confused sometimes over what's really going on and things that it kind of actually hit home a little bit on that one. So it was fun. Then you have some science pages with Dilton just explaining a few science facts or something like that. And then he's got a snowsuit that he's designed to keep warm in winter so he can wear it outside. He's basically walking around in swim trunks in a t-shirt while everybody else is freezing. And but then he gets super hot, and then at the end of the story, he actually has a sunburn. So, and that's pretty much it. There is an editor's page that's talking about all their new titles. This is right around the time they came out with new Archie titles: Explorers of the Unknown, Archie 3000, Archie's RC Racers, Faculty Funnies, and stuff like that. So it was a fun little issue. Nothing major to it, but it was kind of cute. And then we have the Fantastic Four Unplugged series. Now I have almost the entire series. It was a 6-issue series. I have the first 5 issues. I'm missing number 6. But this was from 1995, and it came out bi-monthly. and it was when they were trying to do 99-cent comics. They had a line of 99-cent comics that they would come out with, one or two at a time. I think there was a Spider-Man one, and there was an Avengers one, and a couple other ones. Over the Edge with Daredevil or Punisher or something like that. But this is Fantastic Four Unplugged, and the first issue is a spotlight on the Thing. It's written by Mike Lackey and Hector Oliveira is the artist, I think. Tim Dizon is the inker. But anyway, it's just a story about the Thing. He's trying to. He's upset because he can't get tickets to the opera or something, and so he then it changes to this lady trying to hail a cab. This guy like races her to it and gets in it, and so the Thing helps her out and holds the cab up so that she can have the cab instead of the guy. And then he has to force her to share the ride with him because he sees Johnny's flare go up across town and he needs to get over there. So he does that, but it's a trap. These there's an adaptoid waiting for him, and the whole thing was just a trap to get him there. And so he fights the adaptoid, and this has a lot of references to what's going on in the current day Fantastic Four series. It's kind of an addendum to the Fantastic Four series. It's kind of like, and he beats the adaptoid, and then he meets up with Johnny, who is madder than heck, and that goes into an issue of the Fantastic Four. So it's a standalone story, but it kind of dovetails into the regular Fantastic Four series in the same way that like the classic X-Men series has the X-Men backups that dovetail into that story. So this is like an entire issue that dovetails into the current Fantastic Four series. That's a pretty good description, I think. And then number 2 has the reading of Reed Richards' will, because everybody thinks he's dead. He got captured by Hyperstorm in the regular series at this time, and so the Fantastic Four thinks he's dead. So they're all gathering for their reading of his will. Same creative team, except the penciler changed to Adriana Milo. And so when you first open at this, I thought this was She-Hulk. This isn't She-Hulk. This is the Skrull, Elijah. But She-Hulk is there as the lawyer. That's her there. So, you got the Invisible Woman, Human Torch, Thing, Elijah, Franklin Richards is there in his adult self. Nathaniel Richards, Namor, and Huntera are there, and this guy, who doesn't reveal yet who that is. And it's actually somebody from the Latvian embassy because Reed left something for Dr. Doom. So I won't reveal who gets what in the will. Got to leave some surprises in case you ever read this. But the Thing is not happy. He feels like they're dividing up the loot rather than honoring the memory of Reed. And so he's mad at everybody. Sue actually has to slap him to calm him down and everything. So he kind of wrecks the whole thing. And then she consoles him because he's upset. And that's pretty much the whole issue. It does have like this extra stuff. The Richards family tree. It's got a letters page, and then a dossier on the Invisible Woman. And I think the first one actually had one on the Thing that for some reason I skipped. Yeah, so this one had one for the Thing. And then this one's got one for the Invisible Woman. and they're pretty good actually. They're I was surprised. They're like I said, they're standalone stories, so you can read them without really knowing what's going on in the regular series. And I enjoyed them. So this one obviously has a spotlight on the Invisible Woman, sort of. Um, or no, actually, this is a spotlight. Even though it's got Invisible Woman on the cover, this is the spotlight on Reed. Sorry. So they didn't really do an issue that had a spotlight on the Invisible Woman. That's weird. They did a cover featuring her, but they didn't spotlight her in a story. But anyway, you got the Thing, Torch, Submariner, Elijah, Invisible Woman, and Kristoff. For some reason, they're about to get swamped by a wave or a typhoon or something, and I guess they're out searching for Reed because they figured out that he's alive, that he's not dead at this point, and then it switches to Reed where he's in another. I guess they're in another dimension or planet or something. Anyway, he has an adventure where he's helping like this primitive people survive this guy who was a troll, and so he fights the troll and wins. And there's an aside to Hyperstorm, and then this guy is Zarko, but he's actually Doctor Doom in his mind. And then it's back to the battle, and so he helps these primitive people, and he has this child who's an admirer of him helping them, and he draws this figure of the Mr. Fantastic in the sand, and so Reed's kind of and then it goes back to the group of heroes, and they find the drawing, so they know that Reed's been there. And then there's a dossier on Mr. Fantastic in the back, as well as a letters page. And this one was pretty good, but I didn't really like the way they wrote Reed. He doesn't come off as Reed. He comes off as being very feeling sorry for himself and so on and so forth, and then having to resign himself that he's never going to see his family again. And boo-hoo, waha. Very out of character for Reed, but they're saying because of whatever Hyperstorm did to him, that's his reaction. But I just reading it as a standalone story, it felt like he was just out of character. Then we have number 4 with this very nice Human Torch cover. And in this one, same creative team. In this one, we have Elijah the Skrull pretending to be this woman who's going out on a blind date with Johnny Storm because she wants to win Johnny Storm back. It's after they were divorced or broke up or whatever. So the Fantastic Four robot receptionist recognize her even though she's in disguise, and she has to convince her to not tell Johnny who she is, which is weird that that's possible, but whatever. And then there's a scene where they're out on their date and they see Black Woman and Crystal running down the street, and so it's just kind of a plug for the other Avengers 99-cent series. And so they decide to go to a museum opening, and the Moloids are actually infiltrating the museum while this is all going on to steal artifacts or something because they're dying and they need something that they can get from the artifacts. I forget what it is, but anyway, there's a big fight. The museum gets destroyed. The director's not happy. The Mole Man shows up and apologizes and takes his Moloids back down. And Johnny Storm basically offers, the Fantastic Four's help if he needs help in curing them, and they've been poisoned because of what the humans do to the planet. Um, yeah, all the poisonous chemicals and stuff ending up in the ground. So there was that, and then there's a dossier on the Human Torch, and those were pretty good. The next issue isn't as good. Number 5. We have Blastar on the cover. So this is the original team back together: Thing, Invisible Woman, Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic. Same creative team. And so they've been called in because there's a guy asking for their help. There's some kind of mad inventor up there that supposedly has taken over the building and demanding an audience with the Fantastic Four or something. And it turns out that he's a scientist, and he's brought in Blastar accidentally. He's brought in Blastar from the negative zone. So Blastar is put out the call for the Fantastic Four to lure them into his trap. And so the whole thing basically is just a big fight with Blastar. Nothing else really going on. No underlying subplots or anything to kind of keep it interesting. So it's just a fight, and they win at the end, and that's pretty much it. And then there's a dossier on Doctor Doom, which is kind of weird since Blastar was the villain of the issue, but there it is. And that was it. So not bad, but nothing really special about it. So out of all of these, Uncle Scrooge earns my favorite, like it usually does. And then probably like the first couple of issues of Fantastic Four. And then I probably like Dilton's Strange Science better than the 5th issue of Fantastic Four Unplugged, to be honest. So probably that order: Uncle Scrooge, and then the first few issues of Fantastic Four Unplugged, Dilton's Strange Science, and then the Fantastic Four Unplugged number 5. That would be my list of in order of favorites. Like I said, if I have issue 6, it's buried somewhere in my books. I'm not sure. I didn't look up to see if I have it or not. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Tomorrow we're gonna open up that box. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you there. Have a great day.